Championships 2015. Here with Jerome. My name is Marcel, and we're going to be casting the second round of World Championship.
This time around, we have a Tellarknight mirror match. Interesting choice. Tellarknights have not been so popular in the main formats used on either side of the pond, but in this particular tournament, Tellarknights have been extremely popular, and both Noah Green, the current North American champion, and Hayato Konami of Japan have both decided to bring them to the event. Noah Green is running a very stripped-down lineup of Tellarknights. He only runs Deneb, Altair, Unokalai, and Vega. No other monsters at all. Whereas Konami has a more spread-out lineup of Tellarknights. He has the same four as Noah Green, but he also brought Rigel and Sirius, along with the main deck copy of Thunder King Ryo and Max C. Rigel is of particular note in this matchup. Not only is it bigger than anything that Noah Green can put on the field without an Xyz summon, it can also use its own ability to increase the attack of Green's monsters, but then send them to the graveyard at the end phase.
This is a really interesting matchup. I'm actually thinking. Hayato. He's got the advantage here with those main deck Maxis and Thunder King Ryo.
The Maxis are very important, and so is Ryo. If you can get all of your own searching done first and then slam Thunder King on the table, you are in a good position.
Especially against an opposing Tellarknight deck. Do you think the dice roll plays an impact in this matchup, being very, very trap-heavy decks?
Yes. Whoever can get their traps down first, especially with Stellar Nova Alpha in the mix, and if I'm seeing correctly, both players run 3 copies of it? Yeah, is that correct? Yes. 3 alphas in each player's deck. Whoever can get alpha down and resolve it first is at an advantage here.
We're also seeing something that we don't see on the TCG side of things, where we're seeing copies of Skybridge being played in the main deck to offset the fact that you're only allowed to play 1 reinforcements of the army. People are playing Skybridge. I really like this card, because it gives you a lot of options for additional attacks in the battle phase. It can help you set up very early with Unokalai and then going into Altair.
Yeah, it has a lot of different uses, and I think a lot of people don't really understand exactly what you can get out of it. The one thing you have to worry about is that you're limited to Tellarknight summons while it's on the field. But that's not really much trouble if Stellarknight Triver is your main thing from the extra deck.
Yeah, I believe we're going to be seeing a lot of this like yo-yo with the back rows happening in this event, where you're going to be lots of all the cards being returned to your hand, and then Triver taking out 1 card from your hand, and then you getting to reuse your Call of the Haunted, your Oasis of Dragons, your Phoenix Chains. All of those Phoenix Chains very, very powerful in this matchup.
The important thing with Triver is that you also get 2100 damage in each time. That's why I like kind of the burn aspect with Alsam sometimes, is because those 21s turn into 31s, and so on. Now, Green has gone first, as we mentioned, and he starts with his 1 reinforcement of the army force, Tellarknight Deneb. Deneb is normal summoned, and we see he's got both Oasis of Dragon Souls and Stellar Nova Alpha in his hand. So this is shaping up to be an incredibly strong first turn for Noah Green, as he takes Stellarknight Vega to his hand.
Normally when you take the Vega, it telegraphs that you've already got the Altair in your hand as well.
Right, and he does in this case. I believe I saw it there.
Yeah, so he's given up that information to Hayato.
That does assume that Hayato can do anything about it, because there's both the Alpha and Oasis of Dragon Souls down there. So even if he doesn't have it, he will by the end of it, because Hayato only has 1 Mystical Space Typhoon. He's got a very monster-heavy hand. 4 monsters this time around. Most of the time, part of the reason you don't play very many monsters in Tellarknights is because you're afraid of drawing those kinds of hands. I, for one, like to embrace the monsters and try to just get them onto the field as fast as possible, since that's one of the easiest ways to win. And Hayato is doing just that. He summons Vega, activates its effect to summon Deneb, and then on the activation of Deneb, Stellar Nova Alpha is activated to destroy Deneb and negate the activation of its effect, which will draw Green a card.
Is there a reason why you wouldn't use the Talonova Alpha against the Vega to stop your opponent actually even getting onto the board here?
Yes, because you can only use the effect of each Tellarknight once per turn. He cuts off any shenanigans from Soul Charge or the like this way.
Sure.
2 cards face down. And Green does not activate his Oasis in the end phase. Oasis and Mystical Space Typhoon are the set cards on the other side. And we got Vega from Hayato. Altair comes down next. Oh, it's a nice super rare one from the Astral Pack.
Very nice. We're going to see another Dean search. This is going through.
Yep, everything goes through. Neither Mystical Space Typhoon nor Oasis can stop what's happening here.
Oh, this is going to be a very good start for Noah.
Gets another Altair. That sets him up for next turn because Triver, if it's destroyed while you have Xyz material, goes to the graveyard. You summon a Tellarknight back from your graveyard. Because he got the Vega early on, he can do the Vega Altair Deneb play over and over again, as long as Triver goes through the first time.
Which we know it will.
And here it is. We know it will. And Green doesn't know it yet. As you can see, he's got his hand hovering over the field. That is the international sign for I am attempting to summon this monster. And if you would like to negate the summon, now is your chance.
Yeah. It's something we had to communicate with our players to help it with the language barriers to make it very clear. Are you responding to the summon, or has the summon successfully resolved and you're going to respond to bottomless trap hole?
Good play from Hayato there. He activated his Oasis to bring back the Deneb. Even though he can't activate its ability, it goes back to his hand where it could be summoned back with Vega, or at least it could until Vega was taken out by the random discard of Triver.
And 2100 damage going in.
Yes, now you got to leave the Triver on the field here. And we see that Green picked up another Stellar Nova Alpha, which is huge here, because that means he can get a draw off of Stellar Nova Alpha while negating his opponent's card, and then he gets his Triver ability because it doesn't care how it gets to the graveyard.
And then he sets up the free material XC again on the following play, and he can back that up with he's got the Mirror Force to protect that as well, that setup.
And he's got the Oasis. Green is in a commanding position here on the board, in his hand, and on the scoreboard. Play is back to Hayato. Considers his options. Having lost the Vega, he's in a tight spot with so many monsters in his hand. So he starts off with the Altair to get back that Vega.
Yep.
And now the Altair is being taken out. Altair is negated. Triver goes to the graveyard. Card is drawn. And now we see the Altair for Deneb.
And then the Deneb search.
Yep. Now this is good. Because he left the Vega in his graveyard, whatever he searches here off of another Vega. But if he had searched something else off of it, he could, in the end phase, bring back Vega with his Oasis and then drop a fourth monster onto the field. And probably the reason he didn't get something else is because Oasis changes his monster into a worm, so he can't make the Rogominiad play.
Yeah.
Although he'd like to.
Very important that the normal summon being taken out from Hayato, which pretty much just puts a stop to his entire turn.
Goes for the Vega. Vega comes out in defense position because of Oasis, but it's a worm now. And he does not activate its effect, it's just there for a body. Specifically a body that's a Tellarknight.
Yeah, so we can see another Triver play coming up here. There was no answer to it the first time, so we may see it. Or do you think he'd go into the Ultros here instead?
Oh, to try to start picking away at the field?
Yeah.
I think he's probably going to go for Triver to pick up the Oasis again.
And he can take another card out of his opponent's hand as well when he's chipping him away.
Right. But that is definitely what Green is considering right now. Goes for 3. 3 materials. Triver attempts to summon. Summon is successful, and he activates its effect once again. Now, Hayato does have the Mystical Space Typhoon set, so he could, in theory, use it to stop the Oasis from going back to the hand. But if he does, that increases the chances that he will lose a key card like Deneb from his hand from Triver's search.
And he's also losing the... Oh, we're going to see the same chain as before.
Yep. It was a good move last time, still a good move this time. Now, in addition to getting it back, that also increases the number of cards that Triver can possibly hit.
Yeah, and he gets to keep his Mystical Space Typhoon, which is pretty important here.
hits the Oasis this time, but with Altair left and Vega in the graveyard, that does give him the opportunity to make his own 3-material Xyz play next turn.
Yes, and I don't believe Noah has any negation for that this time round.
Now Vega is normal summoned, which special summons back Altair, which special summons back Deneb in defense position. 2100 attack from Triver along with 12 and 17. That's what, 29 plus 21 is 5,000. It's not quite enough. Not quite enough, even with Gaga Cowboy. Attacks for 12. Put them down to 4,700. Altair's up next. That's another 17. And there's Triver.
Huge damage going through there. That's going to put Hiato in a very bad position. He's still out of range of being cheap-shotted by Gaga Cowboy, as you mentioned before.
Down to 900, he is just out of the danger zone there. But these are all warrior-type monsters. So Green has some options with his synchro summons. He goes for Ptolemaeus.
Yep, that opens up all the rank 5 options in his deck.
What has he got for rank 5? Noah Green has Consular Diamond. He's got Pleiades. Pleiades is probably the play here. There it is. And that is going to make sure that Hayato doesn't get to make his 3 Xyz play.
I'm thinking this game is over. There's so many normal summons in that hand. Oh, he's got the Sky Bridge.
He does have the Sky Bridge. The problem here is, even if he were to make his own Triver, instead of the Triver staying on the field to help keep the combos going, it's going to get nailed by Pleiades.
Yeah, and then there's a follow-up, which is enough to finish the match off.
Right. Not a good spot to be if you are Hayato Konami.
Yeah, for someone who's playing such a slim number of monsters in their deck, when you draw hands like this is pretty discouraging normally when you're expecting to draw lots of your trap cards like we saw Noah starting off with.
Oh, I mean, Hayato, he would have been fine if he had gone first, but I don't believe he got the choice.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to.
Oh, Solemn Warning takes out the Altair there, and that is his one normal summon for the turn. You can't chain Skybridge to that. It's a counter trap.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen Hayato resolve one Altair this game so far, despite trying, what, 3 times?
Yep. I don't think he has anything left. He just has to sit and take his lumps from Pleiades.
Yeah, he's got no normal summon. He's got Mystical Space Typhoon, Skybridge, which is dead. Yeah,
Yep.
and that's game.
Triver hits him, and that's it. Game 1 down, currently 1-0 in favor of Noah Green, the North American champion. And now,
The fun
each
part.
player gets a chance to have a go at their side deck. So, what are we looking at?
All right, so taking a look. Sorry, I've actually got the wrong name written on there. This it keeps throwing off. But Hiato has Effect Veilers in the side deck, which is pretty good in this matchup.
Yep.
He has Twisters. Well, he has a single Twister, which he might consider to bring in for
Yeah,
quick
if you
chain
can
for-
chain it to a call or Oasis, there's some value there.
But would you consider he's got Fairy Winds in here, which probably not going to come
No, I wouldn't.
in. It's more of a Clifford thing.
Yeah,
Black
the Twister has value because you could chain it from your hand to something on the end phase, so you can just hold that back and wait for them to make their plays in your end phase and then block it that way.
Yeah, there's also Blackhorn Heavens. Those are pretty good against the
Blackhorn.
Xyz summons.
Yep. Oh, I believe you can't stop Deltaros that way, but if Triver is the main engine of destruction here, or bouncing as the case may be.
I think that's pretty much everything here, unless there's anything you see.
Uh,
I can't quite make out that last
yeah, I
part.
can't see. Oh, that's the Tellarknight Alsfam. So
right.
he could side into a more burn-centric strategy, which I am a fan of personally.
I really like it with Skybridge when you can just out of nowhere pull 2,400 damage out of your deck, so you
Yep.
can go attack Skybridge
Yeah,
2,400.
it really increases the danger zone that you put your opponent into. Now on Green's side, he can put in his Maxis at this point, which is generally helpful. He's got a Thunder King of his own, which will be useful. But another key aspect here, he has 2 Chaos Trapple and 2 Wiretap.
Very, very powerful in this matchup. Wiretap being able to stop the Telenova Alpha, which is very, very make or break this matchup. And Chaos Trap Hole, also powerful. I believe it also banishes the monster.
Yes, 2,000 life points, negate the summon of a Light or Dark. and banish it, which is huge against Tellarknights. If you can take out the one Deneb that they've gotten, or knock out their Key Xyz monster completely, that's big. Also, if you could wiretap a Stellar Nova Alpha, that's also huge.
Yeah, I mean, he can easily set the situation up where he goes for the Chaos Trap Hole, forces the
Tellar Nova Alpha.
and then taps it back or something. There's a lot of options there. I really like wiretap as well. In a format where you're considering Cliff Forts are also pretty big and going to be playing lots of back row to give you some additional outs to there.
One thing to keep in mind with Stellar Nova Alpha is that you need a monster actually on the field to send to the graveyard with its cost. So if you use that against the Xyz summon, for example, there isn't even an opportunity to use Alpha. You can just get away with your Chaos Trap Hole scot-free.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see these guys. I can see them shuffling up. We'll just head over to the table and watch them finish up.
So I think Hayato has to go first.
Yeah,
this time around.
there'll be no reason to choose to go second. The additional card, not as important as getting those trap cards face down.
Right.
So what would be your ideal starting hand here if you're going first?
If I'm going first here, I want the hand that Noah got last time. I want that in a Max C.
Yeah, that seems pretty fair.
I don't know that you can get much better than Noah's hand last time around.
Yeah, if I was Noah, I'd be feeling pretty happy. Round 2 of the World Championship, seeing a hand like that going, it's Christmas.
Yeah, 1-0, and you're getting that kind of stuff. You start to kind of feel that it's your day.
Yeah.
And you may be willing to make plays down the line that you might be scared to if things weren't going so well before, or if you had a loss under your belt. And sometimes being bold is what you have to do to win a tournament like this, especially with so few rounds. You have to take chances.
Yeah, we do see this sometimes. Players end up playing more conservatively, even though it's not to their benefit of doing so, because they have taken a few of those losses early and they think they have to protect their records. And it can then effectively put them on tilt, and then they end up losing more matches because they are trying to overcompensate and too worried about making mistakes. And when the actual mistake is you're just not playing the game the way you're supposed to.
All right, we got a quick handshake from our two duelists, and it looks like they are ready to go.
Okay, so I saw Book of Moon, Deneb, Call Haunted for green.
Oh, and
Chaos Trap.
yeah, green's got another fantastic hand.
Oh.
And he's been chosen to go first by Kawanami. I don't know that I agree with that at all.
I think that's a huge mistake.
Vega into Deneb starts things off for Noah Green. And he's got the Chaos Trap Hole in his hand, too. This could go really south really fast.
There is a Mystical Space Typhoon in Hayato's hand.
If you're going to blind it, if you're just going to play it without knowing what you're in for.
It depends how desperate he needs his play to go through, but he's only got Cyrus, which is not so good in the early stages of this game.
Xyz summoned for Ptolemaeus, almost certainly. Or possibly Tsukuyomi, because he wants to discard that last monster to get 2 more draws. Yeah, so that's Bujinte Tsukuyomi. If you're unfamiliar with it, because you've never actually seen it played in a Bujin deck, it's a rank 4 monster made of 2 level 4 light monsters, and it lets you detach a material and send your whole hand to the graveyard, minimum 1 card, to draw 2 cards. Now this is perfect for Green's hand, because he can set his 3 Speller Trap cards, and then send that last card to the graveyard, where it can be revived easily by Call of the Haunted, to get 2 free draws from his deck.
And there we are. I can get you the card text for that card right now.
Yes, that's a very strong opening in this case. Maybe it is Green's day.
Yeah.
Getting chosen to go first in a Tellarknight mirror match. 2 fantastic hands.
If I was Green, I'd actually sit down and he goes, "You can go first." I'd be like, "Really? Are
Yeah.
you sure?" I'd ask, just to make sure I heard that correctly.
I wouldn't.
He just goes, "Just roll with it."
Yeah, okay. I'll go. 3 cards face down. And he's going to go ahead and detach the Deneb, drop his Altair. That sets him up for his call play perfectly, and he gets 2 more cards, which could be another trap. Now, the one thing he has to be careful of is that Kawanami will know whether or not he has Tellarnova Alpha by whether or not he immediately blasts the call onto the field, which he does not. So Hayato doesn't have to worry about it. And we look at Hayato's hand, MST, Mystical Space Typhoon, that is. Torrential Tribute, Black Horn of Heaven, Breakthrough Skill, Oasis, Sirius. Even with just Sirius as his only monster, that would have been a fine hand to stop this from happening.
Had he gone first. So essentially he's trying to... Hayato's now going to try and drag out the game by strategically picking off groups of monsters with Torrential Tribute and blackhorning the key Xe play.
He matches Green's 4 sets with his own, Call of the Haunted in the end phase, but Hayato is smart. He kept his Mystical Space Typhoon in hand, which lets him chain it to block the summon from happening at all. Good move.
Yeah, quite a few players can get caught off by that and actually just go ahead and set the Mystical Space Typhoon and not be able to use it.
That's an important part of this mirror match, is knowing what your opponent is going to play during your own end phase and making sure you can respond to it. He picks up Altair off the top anyways, and it looks like Denev's going to come back after all.
We're probably going to see maybe Breakthrough Skill, or does he just let this go, let his opponent commit to a bigger play and then go for Blackhorn Heaven or the Torrential Tribute?
That's a good question. I think you might see allowing the Altair and then negating the Deneb. Because the key is you want to get all the monsters onto the field before you wipe them with Torrential. And that is what Hayato is considering now. Is there a way I can both negate Deneb and get him with Torrential for all of his monsters? Green has a
Okay,
Oasis.
he's going Torrential on the summon of Altair?
He could do that too.
And Breakthrough.
Then Breakthrough. Okay. So he's going to, going to have his cake and eat it too, or at least he would until Noah Green stole the cake right out of his hand with Book of Moon.
Book of Moon, and this is going to let the Deneb play actually happen.
Yep.
Is that how you would have played that? I'm not entirely sure that was the best way. I feel like he tried to get overly clever there, and it just didn't pay off because of the Book of Moon. But
No, I see why he did it there. If this exact scenario happened with, if he had let the Deneb hit the field,
yeah, he would have got Book of Moon.
that would have been Book of Moon anyways.
But then he could have got the Torrential off
And hit all 3 monsters, also true. I mean, that's the initial instinct, is to let all 3 monsters go out and then try it. Because at least that way all the effects have been played. And Deneb searched another Altair, by the way. It's easy to second guess. My first instinct is let the 3 monsters go. But I also don't think that Hayato's play was incredibly wrong. It just lets you get Stellar Nova Alpha now, which is why I would wait. At least Hayato's life points are safe for now. Altair does have to bring the monster back in defense position, and because Tsukiyomi's gone, Green can't dig deeper into his deck for more traps. Hayato has no plays, and we go back to Green.
opting to not normal summon that Cyrus and attack. Okay, we're going to see Duality.
Pot of Duality. So, I note that he's running double Pot of Duality
Oh, double Upstart Goblin. Ugh.
and Unokalai.
Which is probably going to be the pick here, right? It seems unlikely to take an Upstart Goblin in that instance.
Yeah, probably not. Especially because you can't special summon this turn. You might as well take a strong normal summonable monster.
Yeah, I mean, that's like 3,300 damage if he resolves that normal summon, and the Torrential Tribute's already out of the equation now.
Picks it up. So, Pot of Duality, how many of those do you like to run?
2, normally, when I'm building decks.
Is it
'cause
2?
You just cannot really afford in the format to draw 3 of them. Or even when you're playing Duality and finding another Duality is one of your 3 options.
Right.
You can't give up your 2 turns of special summons. Unless maybe you're playing something like Arrow Mages or something where you can take a bit of time to do stuff. Most decks, you can't. The drawback is so big. I usually only go for a max beam of 2.
Yeah, I usually only play 1. Like, I just don't want it to be possible to get into a situation
you're
where a
even
duality
more
for
like
another
that.
duality.
Yeah.
And if you draw both of them in your hand, you can't play them both.
If you get to stages of the game where you just can't afford to play them, like take time. It's like, okay, I'm digging for an answer, but then I'm not actually establishing any field presence.
Exactly. We're on to the battle phase. Unokalai was summoned, and it used its ability to send Stellar Knight Deneb to the graveyard. Unokalai attacks directly, and it looks like Haido's going to take that for 6,200 damage, and he's also going to take the 15,
I think.
or rather for 1,800 damage, dropping him to 6,200 life points, and then 1,500 more from Deneb, which drops him to 4,700. Looking at main phase 2, we see Green taking a look at Daigusto Emerald. That could get him another draw.
He's going to pass because he's got the Chaos Trap also. He's actually sneakily hiding lethal damage away from Hiato.
Yep, and I also like the fact that he is leaving Teller Knights on the board to make Hayato at least think that he has Stellar Nova Alpha. At least make him appreciate the fact that it could be there.
Okay, he's drawn. Hiyado's drawn the Skybridge, and he does have Tellarknight to use that with, but I imagine he's probably looking quite scared at those 2 Tellarknights that are very expendable for Tellarnova Alpha.
Yes. Thinking very carefully about this. He's already got 1 win, but he's been so far behind, and he kind of sees, he knows that he's been pretty outdrawn in these 2 matches, and maybe knows that he should have gone first in this one. So it might be putting him a bit on the defensive here.
Yeah, I'm still shocked by that decision, why Hiyado not choosing to go first in this game.
I found that surprising. So Tellarknight Sirius is summoned. It's got 1,600 attack points. And he can trade it out for any of his other Tellarknights thanks to Tellarknight Skybridge. Or at least he would if Chaos Trap Hole wasn't being used to negate its summon and banish it. It goes through. Does he have any monsters in his graveyard? I don't think he does.
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe he's only drawn that Cyrus, and he's decided to not use it for the first couple of turns. And now it's fell down a Chaos Trap Hole.
4th card face down for Hayano, and in the end phase, here comes Oasis of Dragon Souls on Altair. Altair is back, but Breakthrough Skill is banished to negate it. Now that is a Worm type Altair, but he's still got the 3 level 4 Tellarknights that he needs. What he doesn't have is 4, so he can't both summon Triver and try to protect it with Alpha.
Oh, he's just drawn a Solemn Warning. Wow, not a single summon this match. It looks like for Hiyado is going to be able to go through successfully.
Yep, 4,800 life points left. That's what, 15 plus 18 is 33 plus 17 is 5,000. If all this goes through, that would do it. 1,500 is successful, 1,800 is successful,
And there it is.
And 17 from Altair gets through.
That was a total wipeout. Noah just absolutely
Tokawa, no, he didn't really get to do a whole lot in that match. He was shut down by counter traps 2 games in a row.
Yeah, like every play he tried to do was just immediately intercepted and shut down, whilst Noah just seemed to have absolutely everything he ever needed.
That's got to be kind of a shock to your system, especially this early on. Hopefully he'll be able to recover from this one and move on successfully. And we'll bring it back here to us. So that's a 2-0 victory for Noah Green, the North American champion over Ate Sawa.
I'm just trying to think of anything that could have been done differently in that match, and choosing to go first is the biggest one.
The one big decision point there was after the first duel is over, do you go first or second? And in the case of a Tellarknight Mirror match, especially if I'm going to put things like Wiretap back into my deck, I'm going to go first every time. I don't think the extra card to try to get Deneb is worth the chance of what we just saw there in Game 2.
More cards against being able to set up first was definitely not the right answer, and it didn't pay off for him, but maybe he changes his mind before he does that again for the rest of the tournament.
Well, that's the thing. There's plenty of Tellarknight decks left. He could take what he learned here from this match and use it moving on.
Yeah, it's almost certainly going to come up for him again. I think the other big play that we could talk about was the Torrential Tribute Breakthrough Skill sort of chain, where he could have taken away the extra...
Yeah, he could have taken all 3 of them away.
And chose to go for another play. I mean, he only really got from the options that would blow him out in that situation. It was only Book of Moon, I think, on the deck list.
I think Skybridge could do it too, because that gets the monster off the field.
Yeah, and it would
beforehand.
Yeah,
but he doesn't know how many copies of each are in play. I would have tried to take the extra monster off. That's my final decision on it.
Yes, you would have gone for all 3.
And I believe that is our final word on this match. We will be back after a break for round 3. See you then.
Stay with us.